Hello and welcome to another live episode of the Leveraging AI podcast, the podcast that shares practical, ethical ways to leverage AI to improve efficiency, grow your business, and advance your career. This is Isar Metis, your host. And many people ask me what is the best AI tool is today. I get that answer all the time. And the answer is it's usually that sadly combining several tools is the best way to achieve something because each of those tools have advantages and disadvantages compared to some of the other tools. Now, in addition, the most important aspect of a business is getting money into the business. Without money, you don't have a business. You can have a volunteering opportunity, but not really a way to run a business. And to run a business, you need clients. And to need clients, unless you're in e-commerce, you need to be able to write solid proposals that actually win you business. In today's podcast, we are going to learn an incredibly valuable and fun process that's going to show you how to combine multiple tools such as NotebookLM and HeyGen and Gamma and other tools in order to create really effective, well-selling, personalized proposals in a very short amount of time. So in addition to the fact they're just better, unique, and interesting and personalized, it's actually easier to create them than sitting for a few hours in front of a computer typing a proposal, even if you're using a template. So think about it, instead of sending like a Word document or a PowerPoint presentation or a PDF document, think about a dynamic web page with multiple sections, including infographics and videos of yourself and relevant information about the proposal and about the company. And all of that can be done in less than an hour. That is pretty impressive. And because it's so unique and because it's customized and because it brings all these things together, it just converts a lot better. Our guest today, Susan Frew, is a serial entrepreneur. She's a sought-after public speaker on AI and other topics. She's an AI ninja herself, and I've met her several times, including in person. She's been on the podcast before, and she's an absolute amazing person and a really, really successful entrepreneur because she's investing a lot of her time in learning how to do things better and more effective, even before AI. But since AI came out, definitely she's invested a lot in basically sprinkling AI magic on everything that she's doing. And because she's so good at this thing, because she's very successful with this very particular process, she writes proposals in this exact process that is winning her more business with less effort. I thought it's going to be amazing to have her on and have her show you exactly how she does it so you can do this as well. So I'm very excited to welcome my friend and the AI ninja, Susan Frew, to the show. Susan, welcome back to Leverage.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm always so excited to come to meet with you and my fellow geek. We get to geek out on cool things. And to everyone who's listening who may be in Asia, I'd like to say Happy New Year. And it is the year of the fire horse. So I had to wear red today so we can embrace that energy, because I think what they're talking about is this is going to be the AI boom this year. And that's where the 60-year cycle has landed. So something, a little side note that's kind of fun. But thank you for having me.
No, 100%. I'm really, really excited. Every time you and I meet, we can geek out for hours sometimes, and we always exchange really cool ideas and learn from each other. So, writing proposals is a big deal. I have a mostly automated process. I know yours is as well. I think yours is just really, really cool because it doesn't end up with a document, which is really boring and what everybody else is doing, which by itself means you stand out compared to other people. So let's dive right in. For those of you who are in the live audience, those who are here with us on Zoom and or on LinkedIn, first of all, thank you for joining us. I'm sure you can do other things on Thursdays at noon, so I appreciate you guys being here. Please introduce yourself, say where you're from, what you're looking to get out of this episode, where you are in your AI journey. If you have any questions, I'm monitoring both chats, both on Zoom and on LinkedIn. So if you have any questions for Susan or for myself or any general comments, please write them in there. If you're not with us live, the question is why? We do this every single Thursdays at noon with really cool people like Susan, who's going to share a lot of really great information, useful, practical information. And if you're here, A, you can hang out with the cool people, and B, you can ask questions, which you cannot do if you're doing this afterwards, listening to the podcast or watching this on YouTube or wherever it is that you're consuming this. So come join us every week, Thursday noon. If you don't know how to sign up, in your show notes, there's a link on how to sign up, and you can do it that way. And now, Susan, the stage is yours.
Great. Hello, everyone. So my name is Susan Frew, and my vocation basically is I'm a a professional keynote speaker on the topic of usable AI. So my audiences are usually entrepreneurs, construction groups, conventions, any kind of association. So that's who I write proposals for. And, I was writing some decent proposals before and, okay, here's the great follow-up email and all that. But I started really sort of shaming myself saying, look, you have all these AI tools and you're sending like an email and like a Word document or what have you. And it just wasn't aligning with my brand, if that makes sense. And I use a lot of AI tools. And this is my response all the time is, I heard you say earlier, people ask you, what tools should I use? And I say, well, if you were going to build a house, what tool would you use? And they usually think for a second and go, a lot of them. Right. And that's the way you need to think about your AI tools, because it's not all created equal. They're all different. They all do different things better or worse. I mean, if you had to only pick one, I know which one I would pick, but that leaves it up to everyone else. But you don't have to pick one. You get to use a lot of them to come up with really amazing things. And so that is what I'll show you. So just want to tell you who my audience is mainly. So when I'm doing a conversation or a proposal, it's people who are considering bringing me in as their keynote speaker for their convention, big meeting. Sometimes it's for consulting, because a lot of times after a keynote, I'll get people who want me to come on site and do training for their team and things like that, just like ISAR gets the same thing. So that is my target market. And of course, just like most of you or all of you, when you do a meeting, you always record it. I don't have the actual transcription on Zoom anymore because I'm a Descript user, and I love taking my video and audio, putting it into Descript or Google AI Studio, because I get a lot of analytics out of that. And I'm going to show you. I'm not going to keep talking. I'm going to actually do show and tell here. So what you are seeing right here is Gamma. So that's gamma.app. If you've not heard of it before or not used it, there is a free and a paid version. The free version allows you to do up to 8 slides in there, or 8 cards, as they call it. You can't customize it though. So what you're seeing here with this red and this logo, this is my brand kit. So what I do, and this is really the end result. So I'm going to show you the end result, and I will show you how I got there. So first things first is I take the transcription of the meeting that I had with the event planner, meeting planner, what have you. And as I said, I will put it into Descript to transcribe the text, or I will put it into Google AI Studio. The reason I make that decision, where I'm going to put it, if there's more than one person on the call, and sometimes there are, like it's a committee making this decision and they're all interviewing me, you're going to miss a lot of verbal cues. And you may also miss some words that people are saying. So Google AI Studio has the ability to visually look at that video, and I'll put the whole video in there then, and I will have it analyze it, and I will tell it to analyze the body language, the tonality, all of that, because now I want to write an extremely customized presentation and proposal for them based on what they said. So now I am delivering exactly what they talked about in the meeting. I am not just saying, here's my proposal, and shoving it down someone's throat. This proves that I care about them. I care about their brand. I care about their meeting. I understand their industry and their meetings, because that is critically important. So I'm going to show you, this is the Gamma that I would send, and I send the link. I don't download this. I send the link. And the reason is because otherwise you're not going to get all these videos, and lining it up is not going to work. So let me just show you how I do it.
Before you do that, I want to add 2 cents.
Okay.
Number one is with regards to using a recording to create your proposals. I've been doing this for probably a year and a half, maybe 2 years now. And the biggest benefit is that it captures the voice and the words and the pain points the way the target audience describes it, right? And it doesn't matter, like, Susan is doing this to get work as a speaker, but I do the same thing to do other stuff. And I've built similar systems for clients as well. It doesn't matter what it is. When you're doing a proposal, you're trying to solve a problem or accelerate something that the client wants to do. And if the proposal describes it in their words, the way exactly they described it, and the AI knows how to do it with no problem, way better than I can. A, it does it in 30 seconds when it takes me 2 hours. B, it just writes better proposals because it captures exactly what they were saying. Another small nuance of that Susan is saying that is important to know, most of these tools take the transcription and they will use the transcription, meaning they know what was said. They don't see body language. They don't see reactions. Google AI Studio actually knows how to quote unquote see the video frame by frame. So the depth that you can get as far as the understanding of what was actually happening in the meeting is deeper, especially if there are multiple people in the meeting, and it can capture the reactions when you're mentioning something and so on. And that just brings more value to the thing. The last thing that I will say, because Susan is sharing a screen, and some of you, many of you, thousands, well, tens of thousands of you are going to be listening to this after the fact, driving the car and not necessarily watching the screen. So what we're seeing is a web page that is branded to Susan's brand that has a big bold thing on top, then a infographics that I'm sure Susan will walk us through, then a video of Susan, which I don't know what it's going to say, but it's going to say. So this is kind of like the big structure of the page. And maybe there's other parts, but this is what we're looking at. And now back to you, Susan.
Thank you. So this proposal is to a financial services company. I have done some presentations for Schwab. So Schwab investors sometimes will be in my audience, and then they will want to bring me in to their organizations to speak to their clients. So they bring their clients for a client event, and I do a presentation about AI, tell them, how to usable, all the things that I talk about. So what you're seeing here, for those of you listening, I have an infographic from Notebook LM. So after the meeting, once I transcribe everything, I put everything into Notebook LM, everything, their website, all the data that I have. And a lot of that I'll do even before the first meeting. I create a notebook for every single client, every one, because of all of the things that I could extrapolate from that notebook and be usable to customize my content for my client. That also will help me to customize the keynote right before I, if I get the business, then I can customize the keynote. And then my next thing here, so this is a Hey Jen avatar that you're seeing. I took a selfie of myself at the Ritz-Carlton in Charlotte. I was doing a speaking engagement there. It had a really cool background, but then this is actually a replaced background. But that is me. I just took a selfie of myself, and you'll see, what this looks like. And this is what it says. So they get this link, they open it up, they see the proposal thing, they see the infographic about our conversation, and then my Hey Jen avatar says this. Hi, Steve and Matthew. Thank you so much for the meeting today. I really enjoyed our conversation, and I look forward to working with you on the East Coast, hopefully sometime this spring or in the summer. Attached, you will find a proposal. You will also find an infographic that I created for you, a explainer video, and the entire proposal was based off our conversation. So I made sure that I was able to transcribe and to capture every thought, so we didn't miss anything. I look forward to hearing back from you. And in the interim, if you have any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to reach out. Have an awesome day. So, Hey Jen has come a long way, have they not?
Yes, no, I think they're avatars. So those of you who don't know, haven't played in the avatar video world, there are two leading companies. One is HeyGen, which both Susan and I are using. The other one is Synthesia, also another great product. And they leapfrog themselves every few months when the new version comes out. But the avatars are very realistic. You can control the background, the speed, the language, what they're going to say. But the cool thing here is that, again, what Susan's avatar is saying is customized and personalized. And I'm sure she did not write the script, right? Like an AI wrote the script based on a standard template, based on what was said in the actual conversation.
And something else to point out. So now the voice that you heard, of course, is mine. So 11 Labs, which is a voice cloning organization, which is, I know ISAR's been using that since the very beginning, way back when, 3 years ago. So that is not an 11 Labs voice. I have an 11 Labs voice of mine in there, but sometimes I think it sounds better if you actually record the audio on your microphone and then drop it in. And then it also makes the mouth move better, and the motion seems to be better if you do it that way. I don't know if that's actually true. It just feels that way to me. All right. So then the next thing that we do is we go, so these people are going to be able to, we're going to scroll down here. Hold on a second. All right. There's an introduction here. So it talks about, now it's going to get into the nuts and bolts of what we talked about on our meeting. And I'm trying to make this larger so you can see it. So I put the introduction in here. I understand their kind of industry. So I make an image here of their industry, and I talk about their industry, and I talk about what they said about their industry in this proposal. Then I go here to key engagement goals. So, and this is part of my template now that I've created. So educate the audience, deliver a high-level AI overview, ensure dynamic and entertaining delivery. So, to be a good keynote speaker, you have to have some, a good entertainment as well, because it's not all about the content, because the content can get really dry. They want a client experience. And so I made it a bespoke AI keynote experience, custom. I did not come up with that. Notebook LM did. And I think it's really cool that they did it. And then they put a picture of me on a stage. They just came up with that. Then a keynote built for your audience. So I talk about their perspective of who their audience is, custom generated content, entertaining and affable tone. And then you see this thing here called Talk a Dot. This is where, as professional speakers, we keep our reviews. So every single time that I speak in front of an audience, I have 3,000 reviews in here of people in the audience who have filled out the survey and they said something about me. So if I double click on this now, it's going to take you out of the presentation, but it's then going to show the client all of what the audience members say. They can go all the way down. They can see every single speaking engagement that I've had for the last 4 years. And they can see what people said. And they can dig into every single one of them. Totally live. I cannot fudge that. Like, that's the way it is. And that also really helps because now you are delivering the social proof because you know your client's going to Google you or look you up anyway, right? So why not just give them what they're looking for in a really good, positive presentation? It also makes you look more authentic and if you put your reviews out in front of them. So, and then I just put a summary of what audience members say. And then here's my system for sustained learning. These are some of the things that I've learned over the last couple of years doing these presentations of what, I'm going to put it in present view for this, what people need and what I need in order to deliver the best content. Number one, I do a pre-event survey of the audience. I make the meeting planner do this. So whenever someone registers for the conference or what have you, send them this link. And I want to know, how far along are you with AI? How do you feel about AI? And I'll tell you why that's important here in a minute. What are you using? What are your thoughts for the future? And just a few questions. Now, for certain industries, we will customize it. Or if we know the audience is really beginners, we will also customize it that way. And it used to be, and HR can totally probably validate this. It used to be we would talk to the audience and everyone there was a beginner. Well, now that's not true. Now we have beginners and we have people who are armchair AI enthusiasts and, are going to have a podcast next week, which is great. I love talking to those people as well. However, in order to customize your keynote, when you got 50% of the room one way and 50% of the room the other way, you're going to make it very different than if you had all beginners or you had all very highly educated folks in AI, high-end users, right?
Yeah, I want to pause you for just 1 second for two different reasons. One, I want to generalize it for the audience. Like the same exact concepts apply in any proposal that you write, right? So think about the key things that Susan is talking about. She's talking about understanding your audience. Who are you building this for? Like, is your solution the right fit for the needs of whoever you're writing the proposal to? So all these things that she did the research for using Notebook LM and using other tools, they all get translated into structured outputs. And that's the other important part in all of this. And then, Sudan, if you don't mind, since most of the audience are not public speakers, let's dive into how this gets created versus seeing the other parts of the proposal. I think people get it, that this is a much more interactive and engaging format than just sending a document. I think it will be interesting diving into, okay, I understand. I want to do this. I want to send these kind of proposals. What did the magician do behind the curtain in order to make this thing happen? I think will be very interesting. I think the bottom line is this is a good solution for any kind of proposal writing. And I'll say something extreme. I know people thinking, oh, this is good because it's more of that kind of universe. It's people who are speakers and they're looking for speakers. So they're looking for the hype and the cool and the different. And that's not true. Because people in general are looking for you to be unique and customize and solve their problems. And if you can show it in a more effective way, it is a part of standing out compared to other people who do similar things. And so whether they asked only you for a proposal, you will look better. And definitely if they ask for multiple people for a proposal, yours is going to stand out, both in means of uniqueness on the display, but also in the depth and personalization of the content inside the proposal because it is customized specifically to them.
Yeah, I mean, the customization is king. Like you have to understand your client. And now I'm going to go back here. Now I'm going to get out of this. And then I'm going to just start showing you. I'm going to go through this a little bit more. Here's some options. Here's the pricing. But this is something interesting. So I created this for all of you because normally now I would take Notebook LM and make this explainer video about what they said, but I didn't want to disclose my client's name in the video. So I'm just going to hit this for you guys to hear and to see.
All right, Steve and Matthew, it was great meeting you. So let's break down what makes a proposal a true winner.
So how do you make that happen? Well, a great proposal isn't off the rack. It's a bespoke suit. And to tailor that perfect fit, you got to start by taking the client's measurements. It's that simple. So we learned the investment firm's clients are sharp, curious crowd who want more than just market talk.
Exactly. They hire you for the finances, right? So any event needs to offer something totally different.
Once you have those measurements, you can tailor the solution. And this is where it gets really good.
See, a generic pitch just won't cut it. A bespoke one shows you are actually listening.
We're talking about tangible, custom-made stuff here. Things that are built just for them.
The focus has to be on usable AI, not some dry academic lecture. It has to be practical.
Okay, so the suit fits perfectly. But what if you threw in something extra, something totally unexpected?
And here it is, a free Ask Me Anything call after the event. A really powerful little idea. Why? Well, it helps with shy folks and lets people come.
Oh, okay, so it shut me off on its own. So that was out of Notebook LM. So now I'm going to click over to Notebook LM. But that was pretty cool, huh? So that explained how we did the proposal and why we did it the way we did it. So I'm now in Notebook LM. So for me, this is always step one. If someone books a meeting with me and they want to talk about doing business with them, I start doing my research right now before I meet with them. I grab whatever I can get. Some people will have a lot of social proof or a lot of stuff on the website or what have you, but I always put in their website. I always put in their inquiry. If they've sent me an email or something, I put all of that in there. I also research their industry because I want to be able to understand what their industry is all about, if there's any nuances, because I want to be able to speak to that in my discovery call. And for those of you who don't use a Notebook LM, do start today because it's amazing. And you will get so many customized things and it's free, basically, if you have a Google account. So then after I put in here, I take my transcribed meeting notes after the meeting. I take my transcribed meeting notes and I put them into Notebook LM as a source. And then that gives me the opportunity then to pull a whole bunch of tools over here on the right side menu that I can use. Now it's specific and exactly what they told me. So I can make a slide deck, which is one that I made just here. So what I did, this was based off their conversation. And it just makes this beautiful, beautiful slide deck about what our conversation was about. So that's one thing that I will use. Now, at the bottom of my proposal, sometimes I will put this into the gamma. Sometimes I won't. It all depends on how detailed the client wants me to get. And I gauge that just from experience. Then I've got that video that you saw. I also create this mind map in here. And I look at the company overview, I look at their services, I look at everything I can find out about them in preparing the proposal. And
I want to pause you just for 1 second about this, which is something I do for some more complex clients. So let's say that what you deliver is really, really complicated. And Susan mentioned that she's talking to people in the building industry. So let's say you're building a house for somebody, or let's not say building, let's say you're renovating a house for somebody. There's going to be lots and lots and lots of details in your proposal. Right? So you're going to say, okay, first of all, let's look at the big picture. There's a yard that we're going to redo. There's the first floor, second floor, and then there's the garage. So there's going to be 4 segments of the proposal. In the main house, on the first floor, there's a living room, a kitchen, a dining area, and whatever. So each section in the proposal is the proposal. In the dining area, we're going to switch the lights. We're going to do new acoustics. We're going to change the floors. We're going to, there's all these details. And then in the, there's going to be a sound system. So which components are they going to be? Where are they going to live? How much wiring? What kind of speakers? There's lots and lots and lots of details, which when you write really complex proposals, it's really hard to follow because the proposal becomes 50 pages and it's really hard to follow. Dropping the proposal after it's done into Notebook LM as a separate notebook and creating a mind map makes it very, very easy to navigate the proposal because it will create a mind map of the structure of the proposal, which means you need to know how to structure your proposals. But if you're writing them with AI, AI knows how to structure the proposals. So then it's very easy for the people to follow because if they want to see the sound system in the media room on the second floor, it's 3 clicks. You go to the second floor, you go to the media room, and then you click on sound system, and then it's going to pop up everything that's in it. So it's also a very cool way, not just for yourself, but also as a presentation addition that you can give to your clients.
Yeah, it is amazing. And then here's another infographic that I created just kind of on their industry. So that's something that I could show if I needed to. I also, of course, made the podcast. Everybody knows about the Notebook LM podcast. Yes, I made it more for me than for them because I'm an auditory learner. So I would rather listen to something. So I'll usually listen to that before I get in a meeting with them. And I like to really, if I can, and this may be in your industry too out there, you like to deliver the proposal in person. You don't want to just send them a link and be like, here's your proposal, right? Because then you can't tee it up. You can't, fill in the gaps. You can't read the body language, all the things. But if you have to, you have to. And that's okay as well. And I look at also too, all the people that work for that company. I want to understand them better. And if you're doing B2C, do a demographic study of their neighborhood or their town or whatever that looks like. So you have some commonality to talk to. So whatever you can do to like beat out your competition on this, then do it. And your tools are right here. So custom AI strategy. So, all these things. But one of the things I just want to point out in Notebook LM is this new kind of reports section. So if you click on reports in the Notebook LM, it is going to give you a lot of different things that you can just click on and use. You can do a briefing doc, a study guide, blog post, operational service framework. It comes up with something new for every single notebook that you build. But I will tell you the FAQs and the study guide, I have won 3 keynotes that other speakers that were like, I don't want to say it was like Sam Altman I was up against, but they were like somebody really big and famous like Isar. And so, but I beat them because the client was so impressed that I had done my homework and I'd done the research on them. And so that's how I ended up getting most of the stuff. And of course, whenever you can get a blog post created without spending a lot of brain damage, you can. So another thing that you saw in that one video was HeyGen. So inside of HeyGen, I have a bunch of pictures of me in here that you're seeing. These are just the photo avatars. Now, in the past, I have made the real avatars, and I still have one. But I have to say, kudos to HeyGen, because the photo avatars now seem to be getting better responses and better movements than the live ones. And I don't understand exactly why that is, but it is. But the cool part is you can go in there and you can now customize your look. So you can change all of your clothes into different things. So I have all different clothes on in here. And I did not get changed. I don't even own half these clothes. So I just was able to put them all in here. And I have like a whole bunch of looks in here. So if I go to my avatar here, and my avatars, there's my dog Tiramisu. She is always in something. But if I go into mine, so I have all these looks now that I created. So I can change my colors, my hair, everything. But what I do intentionally, when I send the video, I make sure that the avatar is not wearing what I was wearing in the meeting and not wearing the same glasses because I wear different kinds of glasses. And I do that because I want to get the proposal to them within 30 minutes of our meeting. And I want them to understand that I used an avatar. I want them to know that's an avatar and not me, right? And if I send it in what I was just wearing 10 minutes ago, then it kind of ruins that thing. Another thing that I mentioned earlier, how I process my data is I put it into Descript. Now, Descript is a multifunctional program. There's really not much to see on here. It does a lot of different things. You can post to podcasting. You can separate the audio file. I mean, you can become a very nice wizard of your own content using Descript. So that's why I like putting those Zoom call information in there, and then I transcribe it. You can also, if you have a lot of ums and you're not a really seasoned professional speaker, you can go to Underlord and remove all of that. So it strips the video down and makes it a lot more polished and professional. And then you can share it to YouTube. You can post it as a podcast, whatever you want to do with it. But it's a little pricey. I mean, not ridiculous for all the things that it does. But one of the things it does now, though, is it clones your voice really well. So it's also attached to 11 Labs, and it does a much better job, that I think, my personal opinion, than HeyGen does. So I don't know why 11 Labs on Descript is better than the one on HeyGen, but for me, it just seems to work better. So that's pretty much all the steps, Isar. But you and I had a nice conversation.
No, this is fantastic. Two words about Descript. So Descript, I've been using Descript to produce all the content that all the visual content that I'm producing, the videos, the social media stuff for the last probably 4 years. And what in 2 seconds, what the script does really well is you upload whatever video or audio source, it transcribes it, and then you can copy and paste in the text, just like you're editing a Word document, and it edits the video and the audio. So the whole cutting and moving stuff around and aligning it and doing transitions, all the stuff you used to do manually to edit video goes away. You just edit the content for what you want. Underlord that Susan mentioned is their AI agent that knows how to do a lot of really cool stuff, including picking the best segments or stuff like that. But it also knows how to do things such as change the language that you speak, or change the words that you say, or remove all the ahs and ums from the sentence of you, or if you're interviewing somebody and so on, all with one simple request. And then the last thing is it has a gazillion different templates that comes with it, or that you can create on your own. So you can create templates for your proposals, and different templates for your social media, and different templates for YouTube video. And then with one click, you get your brand look and feel, and subtitles, and bottom thirds with your name, and like anything you want shows up because it's a part of the template. And so if you are regularly creating content that is really you or people in your company, then the script is a fantastic tool. And we're going to put a link in the show notes to that tool as well, so you can find it easily. But I think, Susan, what I find really, really amazing in this process is a combination of two different things. One is the business value, right? It wins you more business because you stand out and you provide highly customized proposals. The other one is something that you related to in the beginning, and I'm going to steal your way of describing it moving forward. So I'm letting you right now. Thank you. I'm going to steal this when I talk to people about which tool you're going to pick to build a house. What you're showing here is how simple it is to combine several different tools in order to create an output that wins you more business while doing less work than you would have done just doing old school, I'm going to type a proposal manually. And so I think this is really, really brilliant. I will add one thing about the Notebook LM aspect of this. Those of you who have not used Notebook LM, which you already understand from Susan and from my excitement that this is an incredible tool, and the fact that it's free doesn't make any sense. But Notebook LM allows you to drop in multiple data sources, both third-party data sources, so links to websites, YouTube channels, etc., as well as your own data sources, PDF documents from your company, email that you have, stuff like that. You can upload all of these to a quote-unquote notebook, and then it knows how to do more or less anything you want with that information. So obviously, it can give you a summary, it can answer questions about it, but it also has all these pre-built output generators that generate a podcast, that generate the video summary that Susan showed in the beginning as far as how to write a great proposal. It knows how to create these infographics that she's using inside her proposals and so on. So it does all these amazing things for free. Now, it's not just for writing proposals. Any topic that you want to research, it will do. And then the last thing that I will add about it is, let's say you added 4 different sources. You can say, oh, I need more sources, and then it will go and find on its own additional 10, 20, 50 sources on the topic that you're trying to research. And you can then select the ones you actually want to include in the notebook. And then once you do that, you can rerun the process and do it with additional information. So you don't even have to find all the information yourself. You can actually it can actually help you find that information. So it's a very, very powerful tool that is completely free. And as Susan said, the output, as an example, she said it can output a PowerPoint presentation. It is a Google product. With one click, the PowerPoint presentation that it created for you out of all the data that you have goes into Google Slides that is now fully editable, and you can do whatever you want with it over there. So if you haven't used Notebook LM until this episode, if you take one thing out of all the stuff we talked about, Notebook LM should be it. Any final words? I really think this is absolutely brilliant.
Thank you. And also inside the notebook too, you can totally lock it down if you don't want it to go out to the web. So it really protects your confidential information. Yes, one final thing, because it's on the end of my presentation. I wrote a book and it came out yesterday, and it's called Recoded.
Congrats.
Thank you. Upgrade Your Business DNA with AI. And it is available on Amazon. Just quickly how I did this book, because I have ADHD, if you couldn't tell, like that's why I can do 32 things at one time happily. But because of that, I took all of my keynotes for a year and I recorded them on video. And then I put them all into Descript, which, I talked about doing that before. And I made it a project in here. And I took all of those talks and I used Claude and ChatGPT, a little bit of both, and some Gemini. And I organized all of my talks and everything that I have said in the last 2 years. And I made that into 12 chapters. Then I started working those 12 chapters one by one. They also went into Notebook LM because I extracted a lot of information and data from there. And then I was able to audio record them all with my 11 Labs voice into script. And because ADHD, I'm an auditory learner, I was able to listen to every single one of the chapters. And that's how I edited it. Then I had ChatGPT put it in a format to make Kindle, and I uploaded it to Amazon, and it actually took it. So for those of you who tried to do DIY book publishing, you know that getting it into Amazon the first try is like nutso, but ChatGPT did it. Then I made the cover using Google Gemini, which Nano Banana looked really great. And then I did end up hiring on Fiverr a book formatter, because in order to do the paperback book, I mean, I could have done it. It's not like you could have done it too. It would have taken me forever. And this guy that I found on Fiverr was total rock star. So yesterday we uploaded the book, we uploaded the Kindle, and then with regard to the audio, I then took all that audio out of the script and put it into Hello Audio. So now I have a podcast, which now I can upload all that to Audible, and it will be an Audible book, and then done. So, and it still took me a couple months, right? So this wasn't like, oh, she wrote a book with AI. No, I mean, I did sort of, but it's me. This is my voice with an AI helper. And that's what this is all about, folks. Really.
Amazing. Susan. Yeah. So first of all, go get the book. Like that. If you haven't known Susan before, that's what she does, right? She does these really cool, highly practical AI stuff. She does it for a living. So follow her, get the book, read the book, listen to the book. There's an audio version of it as well. I'm sure it will be very much like what we just did. I will say one more thing about the whole combination of tools. Again, just what Susan said, try these things out. Like if you have a process that you need to do in your company, go research, ask AI, ask ChatGPT, Gemini, Google, said Claude, whichever one you want, said, I want to do this thing. Which tools will work better for different steps? And it will give you options. And then doing this best of breed approach, especially on more complex stuff, it's just going to get you better results. And I will say one thing that I'm sure go through people's heads, but I will say my opinion, and I've said that multiple times before on this podcast. People say, oh, so I need to pay for all these tools. So first of all, not always. A lot of these tools have free versions that are good enough for some of the things. But the second thing is, what are we talking about? Like a few tens of dollars for get another tool that's going to save you X number of hours and win you more business? And even if I said that again before in the podcast, and again, I always, when I say this, I'm very careful. I hope people in Anthropic are not listening, but I would pay $5,000 a month right now for the stuff that I'm doing in Claude for $200 a month, because I'm getting so much value. And so if you're doing this for fun, I understand maybe you don't want to spend $60 a month or $80 or $100 a month on tools. If you're doing this for your business, $100 a month to get all the value that you're getting from 5 or 6 or 7 different tools for $100, you shouldn't even think about it for a second.
And
just pay the $100.
PhD level employees too, right? That we get.
Yeah. Susan, if people want to follow you, learn from you, hire you, get you to speak for them, like what are the best ways to do that?
It's at Susan Frew Speaks everywhere on all the platforms. And one final thing that I wanted to say to now, you saw all these steps, right? That I did this and then that, the other. And Isar and I, we had this conversation yesterday. He's like, now you can automate that. And I said, yes, but you have to go old school before you go new school. You need to understand your process before you dive in there and start automating things. And so, but now I am ready. So next time you see me, this whole process will be automated. I'll be sitting here with my feet up on my desk going to, go to yoga or something.
Planning the next speaking gig.
That's right.
Awesome. Susan, this was fantastic as always.
Thank
I really
you.
appreciate you. You always bring lots and lots of very, very tactical knowledge, but with solid strategy behind it, which is the important part. I really appreciate you being here. I also appreciate the audience. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you, Susan. See you later.